I can only hear what's up, Spider fans. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, do it.
What's up, Spider fans? I mean, I can't.
You have to do it like, what's up, Spider fans?
What's up, Spider fans? Welcome back to another Marvel movie reaction. Just kidding. We've never done this.
That's what our podcast is now.
Welcome to 3%. We're your hosts, Jamie Haig.
And I'm Blake Roberts.
We're two best friends, fathers, husbands, and just two guys trying to figure it out.
We're also therapists, which is probably a pretty important part.
That's true.
And we believe that at our best, people are 97% honest with themselves and others. And it's that hidden 3% of emotions, needs, desires, and behaviors that we keep to ourselves that keep us bound to shame and loneliness, from which many of our issues stem.
Each week on this podcast, we'll interview leaders in the fields of psychology, theology, arts, and athletics to explore holistic masculinity. We're not here to tell you the man you need to be, but we are here to help you explore what gets in the way of being the man you want to be.
We're going to help you develop courage and give you the tools to share your 3% in the relationships that matter most so you can more deeply connect with yourself, God, and others. So, pull up a chair.
Let's get into it.
So let's be honest, let's be honest, let's be honest.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 3% podcast, which, if you are new here, is a men's mental health podcast
And Marvel.
and
Yeah,
Marvel reaction. It's a new feature that we're working on.
that's right.
No, we are a show where we explore what it looks like to be a safe man, what it looks like to pursue holistic masculinity. And we've been doing that for a minute, and we've never done an episode like this. We typically, it's either just us, two therapists, talking about themes that we see in our work with clients and our own lives that get in the way of being the man we want to be.
Right.
Or we interview leaders in the fields of psychology, theology, the arts, and athletics to get their take on that, men and women. But then we went and saw the newest Spider-Man. And I was already so geeked about this because, maybe a hot take, I have grown up seeing all of the Spider-Mans, but in my opinion, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. At least he's my favorite.
I mean, I don't.
You're probably going to say Andrew Garfield, aren't you?
Andrew Garfield's my favorite.
See, I knew it.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think these versions of the Spider-Man movies have been really fun.
When I say that to most millennials, it feels like a hot take because it's either Andrew Garfield or
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire are their favorite. But then I had, sorry to somebody who's like a college student recently.
Yeah.
And I said that, and he was like, oh, wait, who are the other people? Tom Holland is the only Spider-Man I know. And I was like, wow.
Wow, you are a baby. Yeah.
In my opinion, I just love Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I want to get him on the show. I want to talk to him about sobriety
Yeah.
and mental health and all the things.
Shout out.
So, Tom, I know you're probably listening to this. Just let us know when you're ready to come on the show, man.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have you in all your copious amount of free time.
So today we're going to do a little bit of a reaction video, not just to the movie. We're not like Marvel nerds, I would say. Maybe you were.
I'm a bit of a nerd.
You're probably more of a Marvel nerd than I am. Like even some of the connections that you noticed in this movie, I didn't even pick up on.
Yeah.
But I love Spider-Man. I've watched all of them.
Yep.
I love most of the Marvel movies, superhero movies. We grew up on them. But we're going to take some themes that we saw in this one and apply them to what we talk about on the show, which is what it looks like to be a safer man, because there are a lot of mental health themes in this one. I've been so excited for this to come out, and I remember seeing some articles like right when it was released that didn't give any spoilers, but that were talking about like the theme of loneliness that they portray in this one. And like the importance of like authentic connection, and that there were some mental health related themes. So as a Marvel fan and a therapist, I was like super stoked to see this. So if you are listening to this and you have not seen Spider-Man, what's it called?
So funny that we don't know the subtitle to this one. The newest Spider-Man.
That's not the subtitle.
Coming home.
No, look it up real quick.
You
Oh, here.
we're filming on my phone.
If you've not seen the newest Spider-Man, whatever the subtitle is, with Tom Holland, that just came out in 2026, it's not No Way Home. That was the prior one.
I know, but it's like No Way Home, Far From Home. This one has a different. I think it has home in the title.
Whatever.
Maybe it doesn't.
If you haven't seen it, there will be some spoilers. That's all I was trying to say.
That's so funny.
There will be some spoilers. We really did watch the movie, I promise. Subtitles not as
Also,
important.
what just happened is pretty indicative of how our podcast feels sometimes.
Yeah. So if you're new, if you just stumbled upon, welcome, I guess. I don't know. Buckle up.
Yeah, here we go.
There will be some spoilers. So if you want to watch the movie first and then come back, that's just something.
We encourage you to do so. Or you can listen to this and you'll probably have some things to look for. When
Also,
do
if you
this.
haven't listened to or watched it yet and you're listening to this, I don't know when this is coming out.
In a couple, this comes out.
September?
No, it comes out
End of August?
late August.
If it's still in theaters, go watch it in theaters.
Yeah.
Splurge on yourself a little bit.
Goodness gracious.
I was sitting there and I told my wife we went together and we went on like, I don't know, 2:00 on a Wednesday or something and the theater was packed. And I said, the movie theater can have my money forever.
Mm.
Like, even if it gets to the point where it's $50 per ticket, I mean, we kind of splurged. We did like 2 tickets, popcorn, pretzel bites,
What-
nachos and cheese,
Okay.
icy,
Nice.
large drink. I felt like chips after.
I was going to say, how's your body feeling during
It was terrible, but I felt like a kid.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. But I was like, even if the movie theater gets to like $60 per ticket, I'm still going to go.
Yeah.
I don't go very often, but when I do, I'm like, this is such a fun experience.
The movie theater's great. Especially when they have those recliners now.
It's like a bed.
Get out of here, dude.
It's literally like it's like comfortable in my bed at home.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game
Yeah.
as a parent of young children to be on something that comfortable.
Mm.
But we digress.
We digress. Okay.
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
whatever the subtitle is, there's going to be spoilers in this episode about it.
Yeah. The first thing that I would want to mention is there is, like I said in some articles I read, it's different. It feels different than most Marvel movies. It's obviously still action-packed. There's lots of really good fight scenes and everything. But I feel like Marvel movies or superhero movies for the last few years, I don't know, have kind of lost some of the storytelling that they had back in like the 90s, early 2000s that were like so cool. And this one felt more like that. Like the storytelling throughout, as a creative, the storytelling throughout the whole movie was so good.
Layered.
So layered, so like nuanced and
Mhm.
very human.
Yeah.
It felt very
Relatable.
even though we're watching a superhero movie.
And I think that's because of the emotional themes.
Mhm.
Like a theme of loneliness is so relatable to everyone, and having it depicted as an extreme,
Yeah.
I think probably gave voice to something many people feel. Not many of us are, isolated into a storage room turned apartment
Yeah.
and
Modifying our genes.
modifying our genes with people who genuinely have had their memory wiped of our existence.
Yeah.
That's certainly an extreme of loneliness and isolation.
Yeah.
And I think that in our work as therapists, I'll sit across from somebody who that's how they feel.
Correct.
They might as well be in that storage room.
Yep.
And they feel misunderstood. And even in their being misunderstood, they feel that people don't, that they're forgotten.
Yeah.
That their needs don't matter in a way that feels as isolated and as foreign to the rest of the world as Peter Parker.
Yeah. And like Peter, they think that that is necessary and that they're doing good.
Right.
So in the last movie, he has to wipe MJ and Ned's memory of him. And he says he's doing it to protect them.
Right.
So then when this movie starts out, like you said, he's incredibly alone. He's still doing his Spider-Man thing, but
Mhm.
the people that were the closest who knew, here it is, who knew his secrets
Mhm.
now don't remember him at all. And in his mind, he was doing that to protect them.
Yeah.
And I related to that part, at least, like the way that I can convince myself that it's better for other people if they don't really know me.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, it's what I tell myself is it's better for other people, and some of that is true, but ultimately it's actually a form of self protection.
Mhm.
But it's like I'm scared to be known in this way. I'm scared to show all my vulnerabilities, but if I can just tell myself that I'm doing it for you, then I don't have to actually face that fear.
Yeah, I can externalize I can make it not only externalize the responsibility of why I'm doing that onto someone else,
Yeah.
but I can almost make it noble
Mm-hmm.
that I have become the hero
Yep.
of that totally twisted story. I even heard recently Anthony Hopkins, who played Hannibal Lecter, was encouraging a younger actor on how to play a villain well.
Oh, okay.
And he said, just make sure that you don't play the evil.
Hmm.
Make sure that you're playing that he's the hero in his own story.
Hmm.
Because the evil is only authentic when the person who is acting upon it believes that they're doing the thing that's heroic.
Yeah. Which the quote unquote villain in this one did very well.
Very well. And you can empathize with her.
I was also so excited that she was the one that played. I was a big Stranger Things fan. Did you ever get into Stranger Things?
No, I had no idea who this person was.
Oh, dude. She was one of like the best characters in some of the later seasons of Stranger Things. She was great in that show.
That makes a lot of sense because I thought that this girl came out of nowhere and I was like, how in the world have you not been hired before this?
She kind of did come out of nowhere
for Stranger
Things. I don't remember her before that, but her character in Stranger Things was awesome. So
Boy, Stranger Things really set off a few careers, huh? How about that?
Yeah. You just sounded like an old man, Dad. Boy, Stranger Things set off a few careers. And then you literally said, how about that?
How about that?
And looked off into the sky. 35 going on 70 over here.
Listen, man, you can't stop that freight train.
I totally lost our train of thought. I interrupted you.
Yeah,
You were talking about
one of the things that I was going to say is that I think the reason for that gets back to what we've talked about before, which is in that self-protective mode, like you're talking about, where I believe that I'm doing something for the good of other people, or I'm convincing myself of that. Gaslighting of other people always begins with gaslighting of self. If I can coerce myself into believing a lie in order to protect something that I wish was true, then I will coerce you into believing that lie in order to get you to agree with what I wish was true.
Yeah.
And I think, the depiction of that in this movie is that he steals their agency through having their memory wiped in the effort to protect them physically, and nobly.
Which in this movie, there's some truth in that. Like
there's some
them
truth.
Not knowing him was actually a form of protection.
Yes,
for them.
There's some truth to that. And if you, not to skip too far ahead, but if you go to where MJ now knows that he's Peter Parker again, but does not remember him.
Yeah.
She says, I can understand why.
Yeah.
But, and maybe I'm mixing up parts, but she's like,
didn't she say this wasn't fair?
Yeah. She's like, that's not what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
And she said, I can see why that version of MJ was in love with you.
Yeah. But I don't know you.
But I don't know you. I don't remember those memories. And I think that's kind of the the way they're doing it is such a representation of what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know what it takes me to immediately is betrayal trauma. It's like you steal someone's agency, and then it comes out that this large, I think people in our community are going to understand what I mean by this. Like, someone cheats on someone else, you steal their agency to be cared for, and the thing that was hard, so you medicated it with finding that care somewhere else, and then you come back, and it's like, I want to come back, and it's like, I don't even know you in this way. I think it shows up in mental health is what I mean.
Yeah.
And not just in betrayal trauma, but
in small ways, like when you said stealing someone's agency, this shows up a lot in me and with clients. Like, if I'm afraid of being honest with you even, about something, and I convince myself that I'm doing the right thing by not doing it because I think, well, like, Jimmy won't be able to handle this, or he'll be too sad or hurt or whatever. I am essentially robbing you of the agency to have your own feelings by saying, I know what you're going to feel. I know that you don't want to feel that. And so I'm going to prevent the opportunity of you even feeling that.
Yeah.
Which feels noble. Kind of like Peter. Like, it feels noble, and like I'm doing the right thing for you. When the reality is, I am afraid of what I will feel.
Yes.
When you feel your feelings. So if, like, in the last movie, he's like, instead of just doing it, like, hey, this is what I want to do because this is what I think is going to work. And it scares me, but like, this is where I'm at. Like, what do you guys think? It would be a terrible plot. Like, it wouldn't set up the movie good, but we're applying it to us in our relationships. It's like just being more honest and vulnerable of, this is what is true in me, and I'm scared of how this might impact you, but I'm just going to put it out there and let it impact you the way it does, and then hopefully we can like work through it together.
And it almost looks heroic to be like, I'm letting you go to protect you.
Yeah. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, and the way that it shows up in, I think, normal human life is, I have individually come up with a solution for how to handle this situation interpersonally.
Yeah.
And I'm going to steal your agency to co-create a solution with me.
Yep.
I'm going to do what I think is best. And in doing that, I'm going to assume that I don't have any limitations.
Right.
That there's no way you could have helped me create a solution that might be better.
Which is fair. And there's no shame in that, because somebody who's doing that likely doesn't have much experience of someone else helping them co-create a solution in a way that feels good.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do this because I have to, because it's actually my trauma that leads to me doing this.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we see with Gene, the villain in this one.
Like, we don't want you to feel shame in that.
Yeah,
I
no.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
like, it's important to be aware of it, give ourselves some compassion of like, well, the reason we're even doing this is self-protection, and because we don't have the experience, maybe good experience of co-creating a helpful solution that feels good for both of us. But that doesn't mean we just keep doing it.
right. Don't skip to the end of the discomfort if what we just said lands on you, because it landed on us.
Yeah.
I regularly am tempted to create a solution in isolation from other people because of how avoidant I am in accepting care.
Yeah.
And what that implies is I don't believe other people could have a solution that's as good as mine.
Yeah.
And yes, I can go to toxic shame with that. And if I, as our friend Tanner Olson says, if I skip to the end of that, then I'll miss the discomfort that might be inviting me into humility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Okay, let's talk about one of the most powerful scenes in the movie between MJ and Peter.
Okay.
So he finds out that Ned and MJ are roommates and they're having a party.
Yes.
And he shows up at the party. Nobody knows him.
Yeah.
Of course, he ends up talking with both of them. He starts connecting with Ned, and then he sees MJ from across the room and has this moment of like, that's my love. That's my desire.
Yeah. Nice. Ooh, come on, Blake.
And he's like reliving everything. She obviously doesn't remember him. And then he sees her and the boyfriend kiss.
Oh.
And you could just see it in his face, like the loss of hope, the despair, the depression, like this thing that I want.
The sustaining life force that remained, what little of it remained, you watched drain from him.
This thing that I want, I can't have.
Yes.
My hope is lost. Sad. All of the feelings. He like experiences all of those feelings. The roller coaster of emotions.
Yes.
Hope, excitement, love. And then this thing happens that he has no control over.
Yeah.
And then he experiences the downward slope of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Despair, depression, anger, probably shame, all the things.
And the slip into it throws him into a panic attack.
Yes. And then what we see unfold is then the whole mix up with his genes.
Yeah, with
and
the arachnid.
The arachnid genes start to take over, and then his behavior becomes erratic. Because why? Because he's alone.
Yeah.
So he has this really hurtful, overwhelming emotional experience, and then he goes back to his little apartment with nobody.
Yep.
He has nobody to process it with.
Yeah.
He's not reaching out for help because he doesn't feel like he can. And he just goes into really working.
Well, and his one friend is emotionally unavailable.
The
Punisher.
oh yeah, which we'll come back to him later.
Yeah,
You're talking about
there's-
Frank.
There's an emotionally corrective experience later, but
I cried with this moment later with Frank. But yes, he is emotionally unavailable. The
Yeah.
one person he has that knows him is emotionally unavailable and would be like, dude, suck it up. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So he just gets stuck in work more.
Yeah.
And then his behavior starts to become erratic. And then the second powerful scene to me, okay, so he has this overwhelming emotional experience.
Yep.
He isolates.
yes.
And in that isolation, he copes. His way of coping is to work more.
Self-medicates.
And then his behavior starts to become erratic.
Mm-hmm.
And people around start to notice that,
Yes.
the behavior, not the vulnerable experience he had, because nobody knows about it, the behavior. So then there's that scene where the Scorpion, does the name?
Scorpion.
It really, we find out it was Jean Grey, not the Scorpion, because she had her powers, and he fights the Scorpion in a way that he doesn't fight, because he's like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But now he's like fighting almost like he's a bad guy, and he hurts a couple people, one of them being a cop. And the main detective, or whoever she is, says to him, like looks him dead in the eye and says some version of, I don't know what's going on with you, but it needs to change and you need to go fix it.
Yeah, my interpretation of that was, they don't say it explicitly, but when the arachnid takes over, that's when he expresses rage.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so the way that I experience the police captain talking to him is, your rage is too much.
Yes.
You are too much.
Uh-huh.
Go fix that.
Yep. And I think that is a moment that I was like, oh my gosh, so much of us can relate to that.
Ugh.
We have an overwhelming emotional experience. We don't know what to do with it. We don't feel like we have the support to help us in that overwhelming emotional experience.
We convince ourselves nobody can understand it.
Nobody can understand it. So we isolate.
Yep.
We self-medicate. And then our rage seeps out.
Mm-hmm.
People see that behavior, or whatever other behavior seeps out. And then they say, I don't like that. It's wrong. which in a sense, it is the behavior. But what we hear is you're wrong, you're bad, you need to go fix it. So then he just isolates even more.
Right.
Go fix it, and then when you're good, come back.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's such that idea from what's Kelly's last name? Dr. Flanagan. Dr. Kelly Flanagan, when he was on, he was saying that his theory is that anger is the expression of sadness that we didn't care for.
Yep.
So sadness lives in the gut. Peter experiences deep heartbreak, sadness over the cost of his choice.
Mm-hmm.
That rises up as anxiety into his chest. That's the panic attack.
Yep.
And then that expresses as rage because it gets displaced and has nowhere, that sadness has nowhere to go. And as we talked about, if you go back to last season of the podcast, John Deloney came on and he said that grief demands a witness.
Yeah.
And I've heard David Kessler, expert on grief, talk a lot about this as well, that your grief needs to be validated by the presence of another.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter doesn't have that. And in this movie, that's depicted as not his choice, but certainly the metaphor is that we can all build a world in which that's an impossibility for us.
Right.
And so it then expresses his deep grief and sadness, expresses as rage. And what I love about the expression of rage is that it looks like he has no control. And truly, when you're in rage, the prefrontal cortex is offline.
Totally offline.
And so you don't have the ability to kind of sift through what's going on and put things in their appropriate place and have an appropriate emotional reaction to events.
Right.
And so he almost kills a police officer because and that starts with that moment in the party where he has grief and can't express it.
Yep. Yeah. There's so many things I want to talk about. So many like little vignettes.
I know.
I have another one, unless you have one that you want to bring up.
I'll bring up mine last.
Okay.
Because I think it's an overall theme that brings a lot of hope and is kind of nuanced.
That's a good little spoiler.
Yeah.
Now you gotta stick around for the next 20 minutes to hear what that is.
That's right.
Okay, I'll jump ahead a little bit. One, just from a fan perspective, I think the villain, I'm using villain in air quotes.
Yeah.
Jean Grey's character, which I did not know, again, back to you being the Marvel nerd, that she was from the X-Men.
Yeah.
So there's like some connection there. I had no idea who she was. But I think that her villain powers and her character arc was so cool.
Yeah.
Like what she was able to do. And then later we see how she was able to do it because it was her sister. And they have this really traumatic story with her mom, which I'm about to get into. Such a cool villain. And it was just fun that the Hulk was a part of it again.
Yeah.
I love
he's great.
He's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, so two things, which maybe the second one will be a good tee up to your last one.
Great.
The first one being he being Spider-Man and Jean, he's been trying to like catch her throughout the whole movie, and then they have the scene where she gets caught by
Yep.
oh my gosh. By those people, the building.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of the buildings.
Darn it.
It'll come to us. She gets caught by them, and
I couldn't get past that. It was the dude from Severance.
oh, I hadn't seen that.
Oh, man. You need to watch Severance.
I knew that he was shicey the whole time.
We'll have
When he first came up, I was like, "You're not being honest."
He plays such a similar character.
Really?
In
He was really good.
He's so good. But because I couldn't
Damage control.
damage
There it is.
control. Because I couldn't unsee Severance,
Uh-huh.
I couldn't see him as possibly a positive character.
Oh, okay. Which he turned out not to be.
Correct.
So she finally Jean gets caught and she's in damage control, and then we start to see the truth of what happened.
Goodness gracious, what a name and metaphor for a division. Damage
We
control.
could do a whole separate episode just on that. Maybe we really need to do a spin-off and just do a Marvel
Review.
podcast, movie review podcast.
That would be fun.
Everybody keeps telling me that we need to do something about shrinking.
We could we could have a series of, that would be a really fun way.
Let's just take over the entertainment industry.
What would be a really
Do
fun,
you guys want to hear two
And-
therapists react to pop culture?
our individual episodes, like we have the themes for some of them, but some of them we don't. It'd be fun
Yeah.
to spend some of this.
There you go, folks. There's a live look into our process of what we're doing here. We'll come back to that. Bookmark it.
Our ADHD-ness just sends us into so many ideas.
Back to damage control. She finally is in there. She realizes they start testing her. She realizes what happened to her sister, that she actually died there because they were using her for her powers and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then she takes over. Pretty crazy when she does that thing, and then it like goes throughout the city and all those people get stuck in that trance. Okay, I'm not going to geek out about all the scenes. The scene where he's in the thing with all of the ninja people.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was the best.
So cool.
And he has that moment where he realizes he can integrate both. Okay.
Well, that's what we'll get.
Okay, sorry. Focus, Blake. She has the guy from Severance,
Yep.
whatever his character was, with all the shards of glass on him.
Yep.
And Peter ends up getting in there. Spider-Man gets in there, and they're kind of having this moment. And she's like, "You don't understand." He's like, "I do understand." And she tries to do the thing again where she takes over his mind, and
Yeah.
he allows it to. He's like,
Go
"Go
ahead.
ahead." And she goes back to the scene that we saw earlier where he's sitting on his bed with Aunt May. And I was literally crying
Yeah.
because
Immediately.
it's the things she was saying to Peter.
Yeah.
Jean now is in place of Peter in this memory. And of course I'm a therapist, so I'm like psychoanalyzing everything. Not even trying to, it's just the way my brain works now. And Jean has this, what we would call corrective emotional experience with Aunt May. And I love that it was specifically Aunt May, because I don't know if the writers did this on purpose, but Aunt May in that moment comforted the mother wound that Jean had. If it was like Happy or Tony Stark or somebody else, it would have would have found a way, but specifically that they used Aunt May, a mom figure, to comfort Jean's mother wound. And she like saw everything differently. And I think Aunt May even said, I wrote it down in my notes when we were there, "We love you not because you're special, but we love you because you're you."
Woo.
I'm like crying through my popcorn. My popcorn's getting soggy. Shelly's looking over at me. My wife's looking over at me. I'm like jotting all these things down. She's like, "Dude, just watch the movie." I'm like, "I can't. This was so good. I got to remember this later in case we do a podcast on it." And here we are. That moment was so cool.
So cool.
And then that going into kind of the overall theme, and then we can get into what you were going to say, which is it was one of the first Marvel movies that I remember where the villain, air quotes, was not defeated by dominance or
Mhm.
power over,
Mm-hmm.
but through connection and empathy
Repair.
and repair. I was like, come on.
So good. Yeah. I think, and we've said this quote from Dan Allender on here before, but he says that
You're
engaging.
remembering everybody's quotes today. It's like the sixth one you've thrown out.
Well, you remember things, I remember things. There's other things I don't remember.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. This one is very impactful on me because I think it's driven a lot of why I think it's important to do this work,
Okay.
which is engaging with the particularities of our story does harm to the forces of darkness that would otherwise oppress us. I mean, this is a literal physical manifestation of that quote,
Hmm.
where
In this scene.
in this scene, because if we, for the listener, this is why I think it's important not to dismiss something that you don't see impacting other people
Mhm.
as something that, quote, shouldn't impact you.
Mm.
Because if you don't engage with what particularly impacts you, you won't know what you need. And if you don't know what you need, then a repair moment like this becomes chance.
Yeah.
Rather than this is something where if Jean knew this is what she needed,
Mm-hmm.
think how different. I mean, there wouldn't be a movie.
Yeah, right.
And
We would be on the edge of our seats.
right,
Is he gonna kill everybody?
right. We like it because it's a movie, but the reality is none of us enjoyed that chaos when we live it.
Yeah.
And without engaging in the particularities of our stories, we can't understand what we need, and we can't seek out a repair like this.
That's right.
And that's such a gift in this scene. And I imagine it's what begins the arc towards like Jean's in the X-Men.
Yeah.
So look where that's got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's where it took me when I was watching it. Was it was as if Peter could use his senses to understand what she needed
Mm-hmm.
and to invite her into care
Yeah.
that he couldn't give, but he knew that allowing her in, she could gain.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Because, and we've said this on here before too, but if you think about, most pain comes in, most of this pain is a problem of disconnection. So the solution or the repair will come in connection.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened here.
Yeah. So good.
Cool. All right. Was that the last one, or did you have another one that you wanted to talk about?
We can end with yours. The last one for me was just the moment where Frank got emotional, the Punisher, which was cool because it was like, we always say vulnerability breeds vulnerability. Maybe somebody else said that and then we say it. But I do say it a lot to clients. Like, it just takes one person to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And Frank is like the epitome of the manosphere man. Like, he's like a hard ass and he has nobody and he's got all the tattoos and he's got this like cool deep voice. And then he gets moved.
He has literally
the end.
every weapon to protect it.
That's so true. And he like lives in this isolated place. And then Peter gets emotional and vulnerable. And then it breaks down Frank's wall. And then he gets emotional and starts crying. I just thought that moment was cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad we get to see that moment in that character.
And I think it also incorporated like playful male love.
Yeah.
Where Peter's still making fun of him.
Yeah.
Again,
Yes.
we are not telling you the man you need to be. You don't need to just
Yep.
only sit in a explicit expression of love for somebody. You can have that playfulness too, and it's so meaningful and connecting.
I think a healthy male friendship is one where you can throw jabs and make fun at each other.
Yeah.
And there's enough space and safety for the other person to go, oh, that one was a little too far.
Yeah.
That kind of hurt. And then the other one can go, oh, you're right, dude. I'm sorry.
Yes. The yes and.
Because we make fun of each other all the time.
All the time. Maybe when Matthias comes on, our friend Matthias is going to come on the podcast this fall. And when he comes on, maybe we can have him talk a little bit about the, what did he call it? Like the subtle communications or the non,
Yeah.
the one where like making fun of each other is actually a way of expressing I love you.
Yeah. Yep.
Because he's done some cool research.
But most guys just make fun of each other because it feels vulnerable to actually say, hey, dude, I love you.
Right. Yeah,
So when you can have both, it's a healthy friendship.
that's right.
Okay, let's land the plane with your point. I want to hear it.
Probably the most impactful thing on me from the movie was the arc of the entire movie is that the arachnid hormones are dysregulating, and Peter spends so much of his time trying to keep those at bay.
Hmm.
And you could have that as a metaphor for a lot of things, but it's almost as if the arachnid hormones were the expression of his rage and loneliness.
Yeah.
And the greater he felt those things, the higher the level of those hormones was. And he felt them at a boiling point when he's around MJ. And so he's experiencing that the entire movie, and he's finding different ways of suppressing it. He's trying to he goes to other people to ask for help, but not in engaging them, but in suppressing them, which I think is something we do. I think you can find yourself stuck as a human, but as a man going, okay, how do I fix this thing I'm feeling? Which is asking for help, huge, courageous, progress. I don't want to shame that at all. And it's also maybe missing the point, which is why things don't end up changing, which is that thing that you're trying to fix is the byproduct or the consequence of not engaging in whatever is painful. And so Peter makes it to damage control towards the end of the movie, right before the scene where Jean has the corrective experience with Aunt May. And he's fighting this crew of like super ninjas.
Yeah.
And
Such a cool scene.
yeah. And he's dysregulated, like his senses are way too heightened because his ability to suppress got taken from him.
Yes.
And broken.
Uh-huh.
And so his senses are too heightened. He's getting progressively more dysregulated. He's fighting the urge to express it as rage. And he recognizes that there's a moment of decided regulation in it.
Yes.
And he finds that he can integrate, that he can welcome in those feelings. And it was almost as if he brought them back under the care of self-leadership, that this is not something to avoid, but something
feels like picturing the scene.
Yeah, something to bring back in under this. This is allowed to be a part of who I am, and it doesn't have to lead me to something destructive.
Because I think even Jean said when she was, what's the word? I keep wanting to say teleporting, but
telepathy.
Telepathy. When she's doing that through one of, I think, the ninja people, and she's like, she says some version of, you have to decide.
Yeah.
Are you Spider-Man or are you Peter Parker? Or are you a monster or are you not? Or something like that. Because she was like, we're monsters. And then his eyes go black.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shoot, he's going to turn into a monster. But then he goes, I can be both.
Yes.
And then the slow motion, and he's like seeing everything. And then he throws that one guy, and he's about to go like through that pole. But then he like defeats everybody, but he doesn't kill anybody.
Yes.
Because he's like a badass, but then he's also like tying them up in the web so they don't die. It was such a crazy
Because he's still
scene.
Peter Parker.
Yes.
And
Integration.
it's integration, and it's the idea of self-acceptance. And I delineate between self-acceptance and self-compassion, and this is how I delineate. I think that self-acceptance is recognizing that you have unique God-given traits about you and having the compassion for them to accept them as beauty and not shame. So if I'm someone who, if I'm going to take myself, for example, I'm someone who really enjoys athletics. That's easy for me to accept in a culturally masculine society. I'm also someone who really delights in poetry. Less easy to accept. Self-acceptance is welcoming both of those as forms of beauty with the same amount of self-led care.
That's good.
And I think self-compassion is necessary for that, but self-compassion is more so recognizing my humanity as a limitation and making me human and not problematic.
Yeah.
And self-acceptance is really recognizing that every part of me is God-given, God-designed, and that makes it beautiful and intentional. And it seems like Peter had that moment where he's like, I am both of these things,
Yeah.
and I can accept them as beauty.
Yeah.
And accepting them as beauty allowed them to integrate as beneficial.
Which then is what led to the moment that I was just talking about, where
Yeah.
he had that connection with Jean, and then she has that corrective emotional experience, and he kind of like the story starts to wrap up. But it was because he had that moment first.
Because he can allow himself to be loved for who he is.
Mm-hmm.
That self-acceptance was required to be loved holistically.
Yep.
And I think for us as men, that's like we have to allow ourselves to be who we are holistically, to allow ourselves to be given into the care
Yep.
fully of someone we love.
Yeah.
If I'm ashamed of traits of me, I'm going to project that onto my wife.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It'd be a whole episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. It was such a good movie.
So good.
And it
Please go
could not
see
have
it.
had a better ending. If you're listening to this, you've already seen it, or you don't care about spoilers. But like when he's about to walk out after getting Aunt May flowers to put on her gravesite, and he sees Ned, and he almost leaves, but then he comes back and he goes to shake his hand because Ned still doesn't remember him. And then the muscle memory of their connection, they do the handshake, and then Ned like starts to realize who he is. That was such a cool ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a good movie.
And vulnerable.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah.
I think that was like another gift right at the end of
Yeah.
the gift of vulnerability,
Yes.
the potential for hope.
Because that's a good line. Because he was about to walk out.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah.
And he did.
Depression really, I mean, if you know anything about diagnoses, depression really hinges on this idea of hopelessness.
Yeah.
There's other symptoms to be sure, but one of the key ones is distinguished by hopelessness. So you can see that arc in the movie.
Totally.
Hopeless, hopeless, hopeless. Self-acceptance, hope.
And what I think an important note there is hopelessness in somebody who appears to have it all together.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man. He's saving everybody. It's definitely a hidden hopelessness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can be
Because-
very high performing and be severely depressed. Don't ask more how I know that.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah.
This was fun.
This is a lot of fun. Maybe this should be
Because they have to do more of
This is really energizing.
It is. We're really glad that you listened to this. I'm just like acting like there's going to be a lot of new people. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe if we release it right, there's still like timing of it, and it'll bring a lot of new people into the sphere. If you are one of those people, welcome.
Yeah.
We'd encourage you to go back and just scroll through the titles and listen to anything that
Stands out.
stands out to you.
If you're an OG, thanks for being here as always.
Yeah.
And send this to somebody else. Be like, hey, you like Marvel because you're breathing. Listen to this.
And then now you're having totally different conversation. You start talking about Spider-Man, but yeah, now we're talking about vulnerability and authentic connection, which is the hope of this episode. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, as always, we're glad you're here. Keep showing up.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
You're worth it.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches seeds just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there.